Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I am here to do a review of the Meghan Harp by Roosebeck. You may have seen this. This is the harp that I think a lot of people start out aspiring to. You see these pictures of this really beautiful, really big harp. It's so pretty, and compared to other harps, it's not super expensive. I remember being a young high school kid, looking at the internet in the very early days, when things were not nearly as well designed as they are now, flash websites, and looking at this harp along with all the other Pakistani made harps, and just thinking, oh wow, someday, maybe someday I will earn enough money from my summer job to get something amazing like this. I think a lot of people do end up with this as their first instrument, but a lot of people don't. So I am just going to go ahead and give this review. This is an older model for sure. This is probably 10, 15 years old. So it's not going to be exactly relevant to if you're looking to buy this harp today. But I hopefully I'm going to give you enough information that you are going to be convinced to not buy this harp either way. So here we go. So the Meghan Harp, this 36-string harp by Roosebeck or Mideast manufacturing, or oftentimes just like unbranded as a Celtic harp. They come in a lot of variations. But basically any harp that is made with this color. This is rosewood, and especially these carvings on the side are really dead giveaways that you are dealing with a Pakistani harp. And while I really don't want to denigrate an entire country's manufacturing, these harps in particular with the rosewood and the carvings on the side, and I think sometimes newer ones are made of beechwood, so also be on the lookout for those. They are not quality instruments. Unfortunately. In the harp world, they're often known as harp-shaped objects. And I'm going to do a little bit of dispelling of that myth. I don't believe that that's so. I think that it is an instrument, but it's probably an instrument in line with some of the cheapest Chinese guitars, which is a thing in the guitar world. Is it terrible? I mean, it's not the most awful thing. Is it going to see you through years of study? No, probably not. And while that's not a huge deal if you're buying a $100 guitar, that can be a really big deal if you have invested in a harp that's $2,000 or over $2,000. A lot of people say buy the most strings that you can afford. And I think that points a lot of people towards these cheaper Pakistani harps, when really the better option is to buy as many strings as you can afford from a quality maker. And unfortunately, these Pakistani harps are just not it. Okay, so I'm going to start off talking about some of the issues that these harps run into. Since this is an older one, I can show you the issues that have happened to it over the years. And you will see that you do not want an instrument like this. So the first thing are these levers. These levers are basically useless. Super hard to lift up and down. This one actually doesn't even engage the string. Okay, so this lever is supposed to lift the pitch of the string half a step. Here's the string. I'm going to engage the lever. It's just really hard to do. It should not be that hard. Okay, it does raise it. I don't think that's a half step, and the tone has gone terribly. Let's get that back down. Okay, pick another one at random. Do middle C. Oh. Not what you want. It's not effective. It's not going to work for you. Even if these were regulated well, which these are almost impossible to regulate because of the design, which is frustrating. But even if they were regulated well, it's still going to be incredibly difficult to flip that lever mid-song, which is why we usually use levers. But yeah, regulating it and getting it to have a better tone than that, it's going to cost you way more than it would cost to just get a nice harp in the first place. And it's going to go out of regulation way faster. It's just not worth it. These levers are awful. So I'm going to move on to the second issue, which is that the wood that these are made out of and the construction techniques used are not strong enough to support the weight of 36 strings of tension on a harp. Even though these are lightly strung, and I'll get into the strings in a minute, it just doesn't work. As you can see, well, you probably can't see, but there is a huge crack in the neck right here that has clearly, the harp like completely fell apart and was re-glued. So there are glue lines all along this. It cracked in 2 places, actually. And those could have been separate incidents or the same incident. I don't know. But I will say they're not strong harps. And yeah, getting a neck repaired on something like this, honestly, I don't think it was worth it unless the person who owned it did it themselves. You don't want to pay the kind of money that it would cost to repair a neck to repair the neck on this harp. It's just not worth it. Another issue is with the soundboards on these harps. So soundboards on most harps, what they will do is they will take the planks of wood and lay them horizontally to make like a patchwork of soundboard up the harp. And they do this because the horizontal lay of the wood is much stronger. Harps. These soundboards are laid on there vertically along the vertical grain of the wood. I don't know the precise terms, but basically they took a board and instead of stacking the boards like that, they stacked the boards like this. And that's not good. It's not strong enough. The soundboard on this has not cracked externally, but internally you can absolutely see some cracks. It's not pretty. Which brings me to the sound box, which is this part of the harp, this part in the back, which is the resonating chamber. It is 100% made out of plywood, and not like nice plywood. It's just yucky plywood. So, not impressive. I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit for you because the sound of this harp is interesting. I don't think it has that really nice deep sound that you hear on a lot of handmade harps. But it doesn't sound terrible, so let me play it for you. Okay, so for me, probably the most interesting thing about the sound of this harp comes from these bass strings. So normally in the bass, starting probably about like here, at this G below middle C, you would get wrapped nylon strings, which are a lot thicker and have a lot more tension and a lot prettier of a sound, I personally think, than just these plain nylon strings, which they get a little floppy down in that range. And then once you got down to around here, the next G, they would be wire strings because that's really the tension that you need for those lower notes. But these, maybe in an attempt to save costs, maybe in an attempt to reduce the tension on this not super strong instrument, I'm not sure which. But either way, these are wrapped nylon all the way to this C, 2 octave below middle C, which gives it this really interesting sort of jazz bass guitar sound. Like, I don't know, to me it's very like, you'd hear it on a jazz bass. It sounds kind of cool, not very harp-like, personally, in my opinion. The other thing that you'll notice about the sound of the strings is that a lot of them are buzzing. And that is, again, a result of poor construction of the harp. Any number of wood pieces in here could be loose and vibrating against each other, and probably are. So that's what makes that buzzing sound anytime the right frequency of vibration is made by the strings, it buzzes those pieces together, and then you get that yucky sound when you're trying to play, which is another reason you're going to want to avoid these kinds of harps. So hopefully that helps you some if you are thinking about buying the Meghan harp, or any other Pakistani harp for that matter. Think twice. There are really quality harps out there if you spend just a little bit more money. Personally, I recommend the Harpsicle brand. Those are really good. Or anything by Dusty Strings. Their Ravenna line is budget friendly. That was my first real harp, was the Ravenna 34, and it's just amazing quality. Leaps and bounds above this kind of harp. Not that much more expensive. Completely worth it, in my opinion. You may see this harp in a few more of my videos, if I can solve this buzzing issue. It's not super high on my priority list, but I'm working on it. Just because I do kind of enjoy the differentness of that jazz bass kind of sound, until it explodes, which I don't think is going to be terribly far off. The neck is really twisted. This is an old harp, and it was not built to last, so we'll see how much longer it lasts. Anyway, that is all that I have for you today. Please do, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, because I love to talk to you guys, love to get back to you guys and help you out. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you all so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click on that subscription button right up there. Otherwise, if you would like to join my Patreon or buy me a coffee, the links to those are down in the description. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.